Claudia here. It's Euroblast time, Essigfabrik in Köln. If you don't know that, it's in Germany. Just look it up. It's a really cool festival. It's prog all over the place. And now we have the pleasure to talk to the very first band we're going to interview on this festival. It's Conjurer time. Yeah, thanks for being here.
No worries. Thanks for having us. This is great.
So coming from the UK, you had quite a long travel. So how was that going?
It was all right. We in the UK we usually travel in a couple of cars. We don't often kind of get in a van. So for us, it's a bit of a novelty to just kind of get in a van and be driven somewhere. So yeah, we feel like bloody rock stars in a minute. And it was cool. We're travelling with a band who are playing the 500, who we didn't know before, but they've picked us up yesterday, and we had a lovely drive. Got to know them, and it's been quite uncomfortable, really. Vans are rubbish. I don't know why anyone does it. Cars are much better. So yeah, it's been all right. Cologne's all right, isn't it? It's nice.
So have you been to any other venue in Germany or Austria or German-speaking country? Because we come from Austria, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, we did a short run just in Europe at the end of May with a band called Pine, who are also on our label, and we went to the first place we went to was Cologne, and we played. It was called A to Z or something.
AZ, yeah.
AZ. It was like a sort of artistic community sort of thing.
Oh, cool.
That was really, really cool. The food was great. Just a really, really nice. And we had a band come support us that have like just up the road from us at home. So it just felt like a really tight knit. It was just lovely. Then the next we played in Berlin. We played in, I can't remember the name of the place because the name of the place was the name of the street it's on.
Oh, okay.
Shani 38 or something like that. Yeah, that was basically a squat mansion. That was really cool. And the third place we played was in Weimar, which was called the Wunderbar.
Oh, Wunderbar.
Which was that was great as well. The room smelled a little bit like cheese, but that's fine. But yeah, they're the only three places we've been to.
You got out hungry. No.
Yeah.
When we played in, when we woke up in Weimar, we stayed in the. They had like accommodation inside the venue. We woke up at like 7 a.m. and went down for breakfast, and they were playing like black metal really loudly, and we were all just sat there like, oh my god, it was horrible. So yeah, we're not morning people.
So you're going to have a tour coming up in November. Yeah. So which bands will be on and where will you go?
Yeah, we're touring with Conan from the UK, who are, if you don't know them, like, you should. They're one of them.
What kind of style is that?
They're like a straight up doom band from, and like within the UK scene at least, they're one of the, I'd say the legendary classic doom bands from the UK. They've been going forever, it seems, but they're really cool. And we're doing 9 shows just all around the UK. And actually before that, at the end of this month, we are doing 2 shows in Amsterdam and Paris with Willhaven, which is going to be fucking insane. We're really excited to, in fact, just come back to Europe, to be honest. It's like, say, this year was the first time we got to leave the UK as a band, so it's still
still new.
Yeah, still new and still really exciting, which is we just like doing shows.
So before the interview, we've been speaking about vocals and hydration and so on. So what is your thinking about, health and the stuff you're doing in the band?
I clearly don't think about it at all. But no, we're fairly recently, like when you start a band, if you don't really think about the sort of techniques and stuff like that, you just go on stage, you play, and that's that. But because this is the most sort of active band we've been in, like we'll start doing tours, and sometimes after 4 days we'll be like, oh, things are starting to get a bit croaky, things are starting to get a bit ropey. So now, like, we're thinking more about we have like herbal teas and stuff that will help our throats. We have a warm-up that we stick to pretty religiously. we try to be like not have any like carbonated waters and stuff. I've just completely ignored that and had a Coke earlier. Yeah, he's better at it than me. He's much better at like health and stuff. He has to be.
Vitamin stuff.
Yeah.
Like your water now.
Exactly. Yeah, health right there. No, it's one of those things like like Dan was saying, you don't think about it at all until you start doing a lot of shows, and you're like, actually, I am shouting very loudly with no technique, and yeah, you just start to kind of sort it out. He's always been a lot more kind of, it's come more naturally to him, I think, doing vocals, whereas I've had to work at it quite a lot. So yeah, it's a worry, but I think we try and try and be sensible, like not drink any alcohol before shows and things like that. So it's worth it, I think.
So how did you get into all that shouting?
Well, when we started the band, neither of us had been like a straight up vocalist for a band. We'd done a bit of backing vocals, but we just didn't want to deal with anyone else. Like it was pretty much like, should we just have a go?
Chemistry works, so
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And as well, but we rehearsed for about 6 months, 9 months before we did a show, and I'd say we were still open to the idea of having another vocalist, and it got closer and closer to the show, and that idea just slowly slipped away, and then we just started doing it, and yeah, I couldn't imagine having a separate vocalist now. It'd just be weird.
So how do you find out who of you is doing which vocal part?
Yeah, I basically write the stuff, and like me and Jan as well, when we'll be going over a song or whatever, we tab everything up in Guitar Pro, so all the guitars, bass, drums and whatnot, and only really recently we've started tabbing up the vocals and the lyrics in the Guitar Pro as well, and there will just be points where whether I write the lyrics or Jan writes the lyrics, we'll just decide that sounds like a Brady bit, that should be a Dan bit, they should trade off here, they should double up here. Like, it's just sort of, yeah, just when the lyrics are done, we kind of decide. A lot of it's to do with practicality as well. So, say Brady's got like a lead line to do or something, there will be more thought of, okay, maybe Dan should do the bits here so he can kind of lean back. But then if there are times where he needs to do a lead line, but the bit just works if he has his vocals, it's like, right, have fun.
Yeah.
sit and learn that. But yeah.
Well, like we sometimes at shows, like Dan, like happened at our show last week, Dan was like, can you do this bit? I was like, yeah, all right, fine. And just, yeah, it's quite a fluid thing, I think. We, every now and then certain little lines are doubled up. And but yeah, I think for the writing, it's always about who is going to sound the best for this part, or whose voice works here, and it's just about getting the best result for the song as opposed to anything else.
Oh yeah. And for your CD, how did you go about like picking songs, picking artwork, not picking on each other?
Nightmare. Yeah, don't. Yeah, we just did that. I think we just wrote songs until we had enough songs. No, it was that simple. Like we hadn't really specifically decided we're going to write an album, which is what we're having to do now. We collected songs over about 3 years, basically 3 years worth of writing. We did an EP, which got rid of 4 songs, and we came to the point where we had 7 that we were really happy with. So put them together, and we were basically came to the label after we'd recorded everything and went, right, the record's done. They're like, cool, have you got a music video and artwork and everything sorted? And we were like, oh no, we haven't thought of that.
We have music.
Yeah, pretty much. So the album got delayed quite a lot because we just didn't think about it.
Yeah, sure.
Artwork wise, how did we end up getting Rodrigo?
I don't really know. There was a lot of scrambling when we finished the album, like Brady said, because again, neither of us had been in a band that had done a full professional album before. We'd always done like get a cheap recording because someone knows a place in Coventry or whatever, all kind of stuff like that. So when we went in and did the album, we're like, oh, that's that done then, isn't it? And you just don't think about like what artwork would fit with the music or what video concepts we should try. So it was just scrambling around. So we go to one artist, go, can you do this? They're like, not in that time, like not in that short amount of time. And so, yeah, it was just sort of running around. As soon as someone was like, oh, I can do it, it's like, right, we'll stick with you. And then just, you know, it just kind of snowballed from there, like in terms of concepts and stuff as well. Like, not to say everything was a bit ramshackled or anything, but it was all just kind of like, I guess it sounds a bit mean to say we were forced into it, but we had to force ourselves into it because just you have no experience with that stuff. So it's just like, right, okay, let's see what we can do.
The idea for the artwork came about a long time before the actual artwork did. So the artwork is based on the lyrical content of the song The Maya. So it kind of, we liked the imagery that was associated with that, and we'd actually been speaking to a couple of artists about that kind of thing, and then Rodrigo, I think because he'd done a lot of artwork for Rollo Tomasi that we really liked, we sent him a message and said, can you do this? And he fairly quickly came back with the artwork pretty much as it is. And with regards to like the album title, it was a case of, we're terrible at picking titles for things, like really, really bad. So we just, what was some of the titles were really bad that we had? What were the working titles?
I can't remember. It was all stuff picked from
Perdition
lyrics.
Ends. That was going to be one. Yeah, that would have been pretty fucking metal. Yeah. And yeah, I think Maya was just the only one that kind of sounded right, and we stuck with it. And look where it's got us now, eh? We're in Germany. That's mental.
I have a question that there's probably no answer to, but or there's a lot of them, and the question is, who or what decides who an artist is? Are you an artist? Don't jump.
Probably not personally. I would say that Dan and Jan, that's Dan, Jan's the drummer who's in the other room, are, because I would say they are naturally creative, and that is probably what I would say an artist. An artist technically is anyone that produces art, I would say, which as a collective we are, but I think within the band I'd say Dan and Jan are artists. Don't know about Connor, he's looking pretty nonplussed by the whole thing. So
I am going to veto that though. I'm not an artist.
Yeah.
No one here is an artist.
Why not?
I don't know. I think it's more a humility thing. Like I think unless you're an actual artist painting pictures, I think it's kind of a bit odd to say I'm creating art. And like even though you technically are, it's just, I don't know.
Bit pretentious.
Yeah, a bit. Like I think it's just that word just has certain connotations to it, and
especially when at the end of the day, what we're doing is hitting strings on guitars and shouting. Like it's not art, is it? It's just noise. It's really stupid. Like the whole idea of metal and like people being really pretentious about it. It's like you're just yelling. Like it's. I find the whole thing really baffling. Like it's great fun and it's brilliant, but at the end of the day, it's just yelling.
Mm-hmm. So, what would you say to somebody who says that art is what's connecting people who express their feelings with the audience?
Well, it's not to put anyone down who believes they are an artist or that have a connection with their audience or anything like that. I think more that we've just never viewed ourselves as anything like that. And I don't know, if someone does, that's completely fine. If they can see in front of them that they're connecting with people, then it's great. But I think, speaking personally anyway, it's more kind of, it's quite baffling to see like an actual fan like in front of you and saying that they enjoy your music and they connect with it and this and that. It's not something you really expect to hear from people, because we're literally doing this just for ourselves. And so you don't think about who you're reaching out to when you're in a practice room every Wednesday. You're just dossing about with your mates, writing songs, practicing them like day in, day out. And so when you do get someone who comes along and says that they really connect with your music, it's not that we don't appreciate it at all. It is just it's kind of mind-blowing, because as, you know, growing up as fans of metal music and rock music and all sorts of stuff, you only see that happen to like big bands, like huge, you know, U2 or whatever, like when you see tons of people turn up for them. So like, it is quite weird. Sometimes we'll go on stage, we'll start playing, there'll be a few people there, and then by the time we finish the first song, there's like tens and tens and tens more people there, and it's just kind of like, what are you all doing here? We're nothing special. What's going on? But yeah, it's just kind of like mass humility on our part, I guess. Like
I say, like what we do is very introspective. So it's just like what Dan said. It's cool that people are really into it, but if they weren't, it's not really going to make a difference to us, because we're really into it. So as long as we're happy at the end of the day, I think whatever, if you want to call it art, or if you want to just call it, so, you know, whatever, we're just doing it to make ourselves happy, and we're doing that, and that's it. Just so happens that other people have liked it, and we get to do really cool shit like be here.
So watch out for the album, watch out for the shows, and thank you for talking to us.